Imagine holding something so small in your hand, yet so powerful that entire civilizations believed it could protect lives, change destiny, and guide the unseen forces of the universe. For thousands of years, across deserts, mountains, temples, and forgotten cities, one ancient amulet has survived wars, empires, and time itself. People trusted it when nothing else worked. Kings wore it under their armor. Travelers carried it into the unknown. Ordinary people clutched it in their darkest moments, believing it stood between them and disaster. Today, we uncover the story, the belief, and the mystery behind this ancient amulet that has been trusted for thousands of years, here on Fate and Amulets. Long before modern science, before technology, before written history as we know it, humans searched for ways to understand fate. They looked to the stars, to dreams, to signs in nature. And among all these beliefs, amulets held a special place. An amulet was not just an object. It was a promise, a silent agreement between the wearer and the unseen world. This particular amulet appears again and again in ancient records, carved into stone, painted on walls, buried with the dead, and passed down through generations. Archaeologists have found versions of it in ancient Egypt, Mesopotamia, parts of the Indus Valley, and even early Mediterranean cultures. Different names, slightly different designs, but the same core belief: protection, balance, and guidance against misfortune. Some believed it guarded the soul. Others believed it bent fate itself, softening the blows of destiny. In ancient Egypt, priests spoke of this amulet as a keeper of order. They believed the universe itself was balanced between chaos and harmony. Every human life walked a thin line between the two. This amulet, often crafted from stone, gold, or clay, was said to anchor a person to harmony. Pharaohs wore it to protect their reign. Soldiers carried it into battle, believing it could turn fatal blows aside. Mothers placed it near newborns to protect them from illness and evil spirits. What made this amulet different from ordinary jewelry was not just its shape or material, but the ritual behind it. It was never considered complete until it was activated through belief. Ancient texts describe ceremonies where the amulet was held under moonlight, washed in sacred water, or blessed with whispered prayers. The idea was simple yet profound. The amulet did not create power. It focused it. In Mesopotamia, the land between rivers, the same amulet took on a darker tone. Life there was unpredictable. Floods, droughts, disease, and war were constant threats. People believed unseen forces constantly interfered with human lives. This amulet was trusted as a shield. Clay tablets describe it as something that stands at the gate between a person and harm. Merchants traveling long distances would carry it sewn into their clothing. Farmers buried small versions of it at the edges of their fields, hoping to protect their crops from ruin. Over time, stories grew around the amulet. One legend tells of a king who lost everything. His kingdom fell, his allies betrayed him, and he was forced into exile. With nothing left but this amulet, he survived years of hardship. When he finally returned, against all odds, he reclaimed his throne. Whether true or not, such stories strengthened belief. And belief gave the amulet its reputation. In the Indus Valley, the amulet symbolized continuity, life, death, and rebirth. People believed fate was not a straight line, but a cycle. This amulet was thought to help a person move smoothly through that cycle. Not to escape fate, but to meet it with strength. Artifacts show it worn by both men and women, rich and poor alike. It was one of the few spiritual objects that crossed social boundaries. As centuries passed, empires rose and fell. Religions changed, but the amulet never fully disappeared. It adapted. In some cultures, it became smaller, more symbolic. In others, it was hidden within religious symbols to survive times of persecution. Even when belief systems shifted, the idea remained that this object carried ancient wisdom, accumulated through countless hands and generations. During the medieval period, travelers wrote of seeing similar amulets in distant lands. They described people touching them before making important decisions. Before marriage, before journeys, before battle, the amulet was not seen as magic in the fairy tale sense. It was seen as a stabilizer, a reminder that unseen forces existed, and that humans were not entirely helpless before them. One of the most fascinating aspects of this amulet is how consistently it is linked to moments of crisis. People rarely turned to it in times of comfort. They turned to it when life broke down, when plans failed, when fate seemed cruel. This is why it gained such trust. Not because it promised easy success, but because it promised endurance. Psychologically, Modern thinkers might say the amulet gave people confidence, a sense of control in an uncontrollable world. But ancient cultures did not separate mind and spirit the way we do today. To them, belief itself was a force, and the amulet was a vessel for that force. Even today, versions of this amulet are quietly passed down in families, sometimes without full understanding of its origin. A grandmother gives it to a child. A parent places it in a drawer for safekeeping. Many say they feel calmer when it is nearby. Others report strange coincidences, narrow escapes, unexpected opportunities. Skeptics call it chance. Believers call it protection. What is truly remarkable is that no single culture claims ownership of this amulet. It belongs to human history as a whole. Its design may vary, but its purpose remains unchanged: to protect, to guide, and to remind us that fate is not just something that happens to us, but something we engage with. Ancient texts warn, however, that the amulet was never meant to be abused. It was not a tool for greed or domination. Those who tried to use it selfishly were said to lose its protection. Stories tell of rulers who wore it while committing injustice, only to fall harder than others. The lesson was clear: the amulet worked in harmony